Izumicon?
Oklahoma City.
Ah, oh,
I think. Oklahoma City. Sorry.
gotcha. Oklahoma City.
I'm directionally challenged.
No, it's fine. I'm the same. I'm the worst person to ask for directions. But okay, yeah, Oklahoma City. And what hotel was it? Was it being stayed at or convention center?
It was at the Cox Convention Center, and the hotel was the Renaissance, I believe, was the one that we stayed at. Oh my gosh, Anthony, the Renaissance was so nice to us.
Do
They
explain.
were so nice. There were like a lot of cosplayers I heard that had like things happen, and
Mm-hmm.
the hotel staff went out of their way to help them or whatnot. Me and my roommate and my boyfriend and my son and a friend of ours were all going to room in a room together.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got there, they had an extra room, an extra suite,
Mm-hmm.
and they upgraded us to the suite. And
Nice.
it was a blessing because we had two friends who got kicked out of their room because of poor planning on the person who was in charge of the room planning's part. And we were able to help them out. And this was all because the Renaissance was really uber awesome. And they have like valets, so you can, and they helped you get your stuff out. They had valets. They told you where you could park for like the whole entire weekend if you weren't planning on getting your car out or anything. And if you stayed at the Renaissance, they gave you a card, and there was a limo driver that worked for tips that worked with the Renaissance.
That's
So you could ride around in a limo if you wanted to, which we took advantage of that because there's not very many chances that you'd get to ride in a limo.
oh, for sure. Yeah, if you get the chance, go for it. But that's
Like we rode, and we had to walk back, but we rode to supper in a limo.
awesome. Wow, that's really cool.
The only thing that made me upset,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have the continental breakfast. That would have made it 100% perfect. If anybody's read my reports, they know how I am about my continental breakfast and my waffles. I gotta have my waffles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. That's yeah. I have that same feeling sometimes when I go to a hotel. Like it's I always look for if they have a continental breakfast or a spa or a pool. Always one of the things I would look for. Um, so when
You
you
guys are lucky I can't swim in pools. The chlorine is mean to me.
um, so uh, okay, so you're okay. So I'm imagining I'm a Izumicon. I'm checking out all the cosplays, and I'm there. What were the things that that you checked out when you first arrived?
Well, I had to get set up and do the hallway cosplay contest.
Mm-hmm.
But on the way there, I was able to check out the artist alley, which was really good size artist alley considering that they had to do a different price thing this year
Right.
because of the new venue and everything. But there were a lot of artists, and after I was done with my thing before the panel, I checked out the dealer's room, and the dealer's room was big. The game room they had all sorts of different games in there. They even pulled out a 64. They had the Nintendo 64 there.
Nice.
And there were people playing Mario Kart and all that stuff, and I'm just like, dude. And in the hallway on Sunday, they probably had it all weekend, but have you heard about those goggle things that you can put on and it covers your eyes and you see the game?
Oh, no way. Oculus Rift was there at the con?
They had one of them at the con. I don't know if it was like one of their spokespeople or if it was them, but they had one of those things, and I saw it on Sunday, and it looked like they were playing Slender, and it's like I look at the TV screen where it shows you what the person's seeing.
Yeah.
I looked at the TV screen, I saw the trees, and I saw the Slenderman note, and I'm like, nope, not going to watch this.
No,
I'm
no,
leaving.
no.
Not going to watch this.
See, the funny thing is about that is like I heard that there's like going to be a lot of horror games going to be made for this Oculus Rift, and specifically like Slender and those type of games, like to play it on
Hmm.
there, I would no, I would not play that. I would shit my pants.
That's the reason why they're doing the horror games on it, because it's like it put more suspense onto
Oh
it,
my God.
onto the
I
game.
can't imagine playing that game. I'll just no, I'll have nightmares for days.
I watch all my. I have like a lot of different friends that are in different age groups from the conventions and all that. And it's like all the older friends. There's like a couple of them that played Slenderman just to get kicks because they like it, and
Mhm.
there's the younger ones who are playing it just to be stupid. And then they're all like calling me or messaging me going, I can't sleep. And I'm like, well, it's your own fault. You got to deal with it. It's like
Right,
when you
right.
watch that stupid horror movie. It's your own fault.
Um, was the convention like did it have a curfew or was it a 24-hour type of convention?
They had to be out of the convention center at 10 or 11. I don't remember
Mm.
exactly. I was running all over the place. I was doing panels in the hotel room. I was doing panels in the convention
Hmm.
building. I was chasing after a 7-year-old when my boyfriend had to do his Doctor Who panel, and I was doing this and doing that and taking pictures and
Hmm.
being stupid and getting sick. Yes, I'm going to bring that up. I'm never going to let myself live that down because that was just plain stupidity on my part.
Oh no, I can relate because one fanime I think it was like back in '09 or '10. um I went to a convention like prior knowing that I was sick as a dog and I went anyways and I was pretty sick for majority of the days, but I got better over time. And then on the last day, I felt, I was like, "Hey, I feel great." And then and then like a few days after the convention was over, my friends tell me like, "God damn it, you got me sick." So anybody that was within my facility was gotten sick because of me. But I've been there.
Yeah.
uh, I was gonna say so um as far as how the convention center was set up, like was there just like one big floor or was like, two or three floors of the convention center?
There was 2 floors.
Two.
If there was a third floor, I did not know about it. It was like if there was a third floor, it's a secret floor that I was not clearance level 8 for.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I think if anything, I was like level 2.
Gotcha.
But as far as I know, it was 2 floors, which Luke liked to call the Homestuck floor, and then there was everybody else's floor because on the bottom floor, the Homestuck floor, that's where all the Homestuck kids went because there wasn't so much stuff going on. On the top floor, on the second floor, where I spent the majority of my time was the artist alley and dealer's room and the tea room and all that. And they're really, there, I guess, with all the Homestuck kids and all the other cosplayers going around and everything and looking at everything, there really wasn't like a spot for them to just sit and chill. So they all just kind of congregated down to the other floor. On that floor that they were on was where most of the signings and stuff was.
Right, right.
And like the main event stuff and everything was on the second floor. So
I see. How big were the rooms? Like as for, I mean, like just not only panel rooms, but like say for the main stage and the other big rooms you were using.
I think the main stage and the autograph room were the biggest rooms, and I didn't get to ask, but I think that they held about a good 100 to 200 people. It could have held a good 100 to 200 people if everybody, went to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know I worked on staff, but it's like I was mainly in charge of doing pictures and telling people not to run in the halls and stuff. Well, that running in the halls wasn't my job or anything,
Right.
but it's like all the staff was like in charge of telling people not to run in the halls. And of course, my mother voice came out every time, and it was like, "Do not run in the hall!" And they just stop and it's like they're looking around for their mom, like, "Where did that come from?" They were pretty big. The panel rooms they had panel rooms in the hotel also because they had stuff going. The convention had stuff going up until like midnight, but the convention center had to close down because of electricity, because they shut the electricity off at a certain time or whatnot. I can't remember.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, so it was like around 11, I believe it was 11, like the lights and stuff had to be turned off at the convention center because that's where I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this. I remember that we had to be out because of electricity. We had to be out, but I don't remember what time.
Right, right.
But like there were hotel rooms, and me and my roommate and our friend and a handful of our friends were doing Marvel panels. And there was a Homestuck panel, and we were we were on the other side of rooms, okay? Because the Marvel panel was supposed to get a lot of, people, and then Homestuck, they weren't thinking because Homestuck was dying down, and then Hussey goes and decides that he's going to be like, I'm going to finish the comic. So, of course, all the Homestuck people are like, oh my gosh, we have to do this. So we wound up having to swap rooms so they could get the bigger room because there was literally a line that went outside all the way around. And I was like, okay. But see, our Marvel panels were on Saturday and Sunday were completely full. What I heard, all the panel rooms were like really full.
Wow.
And I know that both of our Marvel panels that were Saturday and Sunday, Fridays wasn't really that full because there were still people coming and all that. But Saturday and Sunday it was full room. And then it's like there would be people that would leave, and as soon as they'd leave, some new people would come in to take their spots.
I see. Huh.
But on Saturday night, both of them were on Saturday. We didn't have one on Sunday. I had a tea party on Sunday. Sorry. On Saturday night, one of my friends proposed to her girlfriend at the end of our panel, and it was like, yes, and we got video and stuff, and it was so awesome.
Oh,
and
yes.
Everybody but the girlfriend everybody knew about it except for the girlfriend. She knew that something was up, but she didn't know what. It was so funny when she realized what was going on. She was like she was just like, oh my gosh, it's like total opposite of what she was expecting. Obviously, you could tell by the look on her face. She was thinking something totally different was going to happen.
Right.
And then she gets proposed to, and then she's just like, oh my goodness. And it was just like, oh, I love it.
Wow. That's awesome. I mean, it's so cool to happen at a anime convention when it comes to these type of things, when it comes to proposals and whatnot, because like you're surrounded by not only friends but your fellow nerd, your fellow cosplayer. Although I feel like, to be honest, I've seen it so many times. Like it's kind of a trope now to do it. It's like the same thing you would do at a sports event. You would propose to your wife or your then girlfriend right in front of everybody in the stadium, and it's kind of that type of feeling. Not to go off on a tangent, but just yeah, it's still cool though. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still pretty awesome in this type of setting.
I never get tired of it. The first proposal that I saw was my second convention, the first convention proposal, and it was a guy that was dressed like Waldo, and he proposed to his girlfriend, who was Carmen Sandiego.
Nice.
And it was the best, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I love it. And of course, here I am in Sailor Jupiter running over to him to give the Carmen a hug. I don't even know these people, but I witnessed their thing, and I'm like, that was just so great. And then I looked at her and I go, you better keep him, because if you don't keep him and something happens, you just,
Right.
Not very many guys will propose to the woman of their dream. Will propose to Carmen Sandiego as Waldo. They would at least change.
Right. Awesome. So when you were walking around the convention center, was there any particular cosplays that stood out to you that had you just had to run for, or just like stopped you in your tracks?
Oh, there was a person who, there was a couple, but the main one that I stopped and literally ran for, I did ninja moves to get to this person, was this girl who did Sergeant Frog.
Oh, nice.
I have a picture of it. I do believe I posted all the pictures. She's in there. But my little boy loves Sergeant Frog.
Nice, awesome. So when he
And so I saw her, and I'm like, it's the taco person of this convention. I have to get a picture, or he will never let me lay it down.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, that's really cool. Was it a like full on like
no, actually, it was a human version of it. It
oh,
wasn't
okay.
like the suit or anything.
Right,
She
right.
did really good. She had a green wig. She had the hat. She had a shirt, but instead of doing it to where like it had the star on the shirt, she had the star necklace
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And I mean, she did really well on it.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was just, I mean, when Luke saw it, he was like, it's Sergeant Frog. And I'm like, yes, it is Sergeant Frog. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
why did I not get to see Sergeant Frog? And I'm like, because at that time you were doing something else.
Right, right.
But I got a picture of it for you. And then, of course, the next day he was keeping his eyes open for Sergeant Frog and Doctor Who's, and
Mm-hmm.
it was so funny.
Uh,
He was on a mission
nah.
for Doctor Who's this time. He actually designed his first character cosplay.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
He did K9
Nice.
from Doctor Who, but he did a different version of K9.
Nice.
He did a human version because he didn't want to walk around wearing a box, so he made it look like he made his character look like a maintenance man, and it had K9 on the back, and Mommy helped make a maintenance man outfit for her tiny child out of a humongous gray shirt. It worked.
Nice.
The K9 didn't want to stay on the back though, so
Oh,
but he
okay.
didn't care. He was on cloud nine about it. He was so happy.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, so what, so you were working at staff.
hmm
Were you able to catch, or you might be, behind the scenes, but like, how was registration set up, for Izumicon?
Registration was on the bottom floor, and it was in a part that I didn't get to go to.
Right.
But I had some friends who had to go and get their tags that day, and my boyfriend and Luke had to go get their tags the day that we got there,
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't working on staff or anything.
Right.
But they said that they said that it went by smoothly, and there was no one trying to cut in lines on the day that they went, and it worked really good. So whatever they did, they should probably do it again next year. Oh, well, there was one mishap. They ran out of tags. So they wound up giving people bracelets. Luke got the last tag for that day.
Nice.
And so James and everybody after James wound up getting bracelets. And then the next day they wound up going because they were able to print off more tags.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
yeah, it was kind of funny because here comes Luke and he goes, "Look, Mommy, it's my name tag." And I'm like, "Oh," and I look at James and I'm like, "Where's your name tag?" And he's like, and he shows me this purple bracelet and I'm like, "That's not a name tag."
And then,
And then
and then you look at the other like 50 to 100 people with like purple bracelets. It's like, oh.
Yeah, two of our the two friends, the one that got proposed to and the one that proposed, they wound up having a bracelet when they got to the they got to the panel. So it was just like,
Right.
I was so confused until somebody explained to me, because it's like, I'm on staff. Should I be getting on to these people for not having name tags? Why is everybody getting on to these people? I don't know what to do.
Right, right. Um, as far as when it comes to food, like and normally, yes, convention food is always the worst to get. And normally everybody goes out and get food outside a convention center. Was there any nearby food places that were a go place to go eat, or was the convention already set up like some food trucks in front of the convention center?
I didn't see any food trucks. There wasn't anything set up inside the convention to my knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
but we had Pizza Planet pizza.
Ooh.
Me and my group had Pizza Planet pizza. It was yummy, and it was to where I wasn't allergic to it. They used the right everything and all that. And then there was so many other yummy restaurants out there.
Mm-hmm.
But the restaurant that we decided that we wanted to go to was called Spaghetti Warehouse.
Nice.
And it has lots of pasta, and I like pasta, and it was good pasta. And we rode there in a limousine.
Nice.
So it was real fun.
How far were the restaurants, like, as far as like from the convention center?
They were within walking distance. You just had to walk into Bricktown, which was, and it wasn't like really close. It was about like half a mile to a mile
Right. Right.
walking, which is not really friendly when you're wearing boots. But, you know,
Uh-huh.
if you're hungry and you don't want to go and change out your cosplay, you just got to deal with it.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool. Um, so, uh, as I'm trying to think of something, and it,
The Sonic headquarters is like was close to the convention center.
oh, cool.
I didn't eat there, but I know it's there because there was a huge sign that said Sonic, and when I asked, my roommate told me that was the headquarters.
Huh.
So
They have a headquarters?
yeah, I was kind of shocked too. It's like I thought that people, you know, bought the places and owned the places and ran the places. Why do they have a headquarters? Oh well.
Right, right.
Da-di-da. Look at all the shiny windows.
Um, so I wonder can you go into more detail as far as like how the as you are part of the staff,
Mm-hmm.
um like you have a different perspective and as far as like when it comes to this convention. Um Now normally I would ask like how was the staff, as far as like, talking to the cosplayers, and dealing with issues and whatnot. But I want to ask you, since you were in that role, um, did you how was the people? Like how did they treat you? Like how was the cosplayers and everybody else?
There are all sorts of people at conventions,
Mm-hmm.
on staff and off staff. There were people that were really sweet and everything when they asked for help, and then there were the people who came up to you expecting you to be on top of everything because since you're on staff, you obviously know everything that's going on and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's like only one or two of those people that I personally encountered. I'm pretty sure that the upper staff people, the level 8 people,
Yeah.
they had
Mm-hmm.
more issues than I did. I was just the person that was doing the hallway cosplay contest.
I see. I
So,
see.
but it's like the hallway cosplay contest. You have to take. I take pictures. My roommate was in charge of taking the information and everything. And on Friday, the printer messed up, so they weren't able to get us the paperwork. And there were some people who wanted to enter the contest who were irritated because Tamara and I didn't really have any answers.
Mm.
And neither did, like I said, new venue. We didn't know what was going on. The people in charge were trying to get the stuff together, and they did a wonderful job of doing it because they got it as fast as they could.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they got to it as fast as they could, and they did everything as fast as they could. And I mean, like I said, I only encountered like a couple of rude people, but like there are like always people that are like that at conventions, and there are people who are really sweet, who have either worked at the staff or they don't want to get kicked out, and they know that if you put yourself the wrong staff member, your butt's on the street.
Right. Izumicon, this is a new venue for Izumicon?
Yes, actually, it's a bigger venue. Last year they were in one that was in Midwest City, which was, oh crud, I forgot the name of the venue, the one that was in Midwest City. I'm a horrible reporter.
No, it's fine. In comparison,
that was a year ago. I have an excuse. That was a year ago.
Right. No, it's cool. Like how big in comparison is the two conventions?
I'd have to say that, in my personal opinion, I think that the one last year was half the size of the one this year. And the one last year was a 2-story also. It had a bottom floor and had a top floor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to see all of it, but to me it felt like it was twice the size of, like half the size of what we got this year, or what we had this year.
Right.
Sorry.
No, it's cool.
The panel room, we had bigger panel rooms. The main event room might have been the same size, because at the other venue, the main event room seemed to be like 5 of the panel rooms that me and my roommate had
Mm-hmm.
when we did panels.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the but it seemed like the main events one was bigger, from my personal opinion. But I'm also directionally challenged and can't tell anybody anything, so I don't know.
Right, right,
It
right,
looked big.
right, right. Um, as far as like what had that transition to a bigger convention center or bigger space, did it feel that the when you went to this year's Izumicon, like did it feel like it was kind of less populated than before?
No, it felt about the same
Mm-hmm.
like it did before.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people. There was a lot of energy going on and all that. Um, they sold out of tickets,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to print more. So there was obviously more people. So
Right.
it just felt the same. There was the same energy that was the year before
Mm-hmm.
when it came to people being there. It's like this is these people's home con. A
Nice.
lot of these people's home con.
Nice.
And you could tell that they were happy to be there and that they wanted to and all that, and they brought friends and they brought family, and it was just
Right.
it was awesome.
Right. Okay.
And that's one of the things I love about Izumicon is how you go in there and like you feel really comfortable with people, and you feel comfortable with the staff. I mean, like I know I was on staff, and a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, she's just saying this because she was on staff." But no, I'm not saying this because I was on staff. There's a bunch of conventions I worked at where I did not feel like I could let my kid breathe.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right. Because if you
but
listen to prior podcasts, she talked about other awesome conventions she's been to that she was not staff at.
yes, I do go to places where I am not staffed, but they're like the ones that I do. I try to do staff a lot because I understand that conventions need people to work them.
For sure.
Because if you don't have people to work them, then nothing's going to happen. People are going to get stressed because they're going to have way too much on them.
Right.
And conventions need good people to be on staff. And Izumicon lucked out. I mean, Natalie's wonderfully sweet and awesome. And Tabitha and Danielle and Megan, and all the people that I worked with, the guy who's in charge of their security.
Right.
I'm always terrified to try to say Cisco. I believe that's how I pronounce his name.
Awesome.
I apologize if I said his name wrong, but he is on top of the security duties. He is like, all he has to do is like look at a person who's misbehaving, and they stop right in their tracks, and they're like, "Yes, sir, we're going to behave now, sir." And it's just, I feel comfortable. I mean, while we were doing I was working on Saturday, my little boy and my boyfriend came, and they sat and they chilled with us, and there was a LARPing thing that was going on across from us.
Nice.
And he wanted to go see it. Well, James wanted to sit down, and Tamara was busy, and I was busy, and I did not, have to double think about it. I knew, all the guys on security were not going to let anything happen to my kid. They were not going to let anything happen to anybody there.
Right, right, right.
And my kid was safe. The only thing I told him was, don't go past the line, because if you get whopped by a LARPing weapon, that's your own fault. And of course, he's 7, and there's a picture I have on his little page thing where he's like sitting, his bottom's on the other side of the line, but his head's under the thing, trying to get as close as he can to see these guys fighting and stuff.
Wow.
And next year, he told me that next year he wants to, he's just like telling me, I want to get a tri-point bracelet so I can LARP with them all weekend, Mommy. And I'm like, okay, we'll think about it. And he's just like, I want to do more LARPing.
So, can you go more into details as far as like did you check out any of the Artist Alley or Dita Tall at Izumicon?
Well, yeah, I checked out the Artist Alley people. Like I said, they were like where you could walk past them and stuff. And I stopped and I looked. There was that Pagan Chick's booth, which I always check her stuff out. She's a really sweet person, Becca. She makes these really cool buttons and shirts And when she's in the dealer's room, she has like all this cool Egyptian stuff and everything on her table. So I always check her out. And she had like some really cool stuff this year. She had a Crowley's Hellhound shirt.
Nice.
It looked like a university shirt, and I was like, I want this shirt, but I'm broke. And then I go, James, come look at this shirt. And he looked at it and he goes, oh, that's nice. And then he walked off and I'm like, okay, he's broke too. So we can't have the Crowley shirt. It's okay. I know Becca. I can get one later.
Nice.
There was an artist, this really cool artist, or his wife was the artist, I believe, and he was a photographer. He had pictures of red pandas and other animals. And he had pictures of other animals. Well, he came up to us on Friday because Tamara and I were Ant-Man and Wasp.
Nice.
And we were doing the hallway cosplay contest shoot for the convention, like we do every year, that we have since we started. Anyways, we were set up in our first location, which was near them. And he comes up and he goes, oh my gosh, Wasp, can I have a picture? And then we're like, yeah. And then he's like, he took a picture of her, he took a picture of both of us, and then he went and he's like, and they came back and it was really slow. And he came back and goes, I have a picture of you. I have a drawing of you at my table. And she's like, really? And then she, of course, there goes Tamara. And I'm just standing there with my camera, just looking like, Tamara, you just left me.
That's cool. You know what's funny? Like, now that you mention it, like, it's funny. Like, a good number of us on MSP actually cosplay as like Marvel heroes. Like, I dress up as Spider-Man. Like, Jerry dresses up as Luke Cage. And
oh my gosh, Luke Cage! I want to hug him. Is he going to be at a convention that I'm going to be at?
No.
I love Heroes for Hire. Those are my.
Nah, he'll be. He and I and others are gonna be at Anime LA pretty soon. But I digress. I was gonna say, did you? What I've heard is that the Artist Alley was like center when you entered the convention center. It was like right smack in the middle, where you when you entered you couldn't avoid it.
No, you couldn't avoid it. It was a really good location for all the artists. Actually, I mean. Mm-hmm. To get to on that floor, you had to go through them, go by them to get to the other places, and to get to the elevator, escalator, or go to the hotel.
Yeah, I totally.
Words, come on, please, words.
No, it's cool. Like I totally like the fact that the convention put the artist in the forefront. Because I always felt like Artist Alley at some conventions are always put to the side or not given their dues. I like the fact that a convention puts its foot forward and like, hey, check out these cool artists because they're gonna make some cool shit you want to buy. That's probably better than getting a dealer's hall most of the time.
Oh my goodness! I have to tell you of something I saw. It was really funny. There was an artist. I don't remember. I only got a glance of it, but there was an artist that had the My Little Ponies and the Attack on Titans outfits.
Nice.
And I saw it, and it's one of those things you walk by and you're thinking, oh, My Little Pony, and then you have to double check because you see a My Little Pony version of the Titan, and you just have to double check. And you're like, what the crap was that? I was like, did I see? But there's Pinkie Pie flipping around with her party horn and the swords and probably not even hitting a thing.
Nice. So cool. We should take a picture. I want to see that.
There was a sign that said a lot of the artists had these no picture signs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new. It's I've seen them at a couple of conventions, in the past. I've seen a couple, but it's like recently it's been getting a lot, and I understand because there are a lot more people who are trying to, they want to buy something, but they can't buy it, and they want to have a picture of it, and then it's like once they get a picture of it, they're like, well, we don't have to buy it now.
Yeah.
Which really sucks. for the artist.
Mhm.
And it's like the artists don't want to be mean. They don't want to be bossy. They don't want to be, no, you can't do this. They want to share their art. That's one of the reasons why they draw it and they have it to where you can buy it and you have your own copy of it.
I definitely agree. I've been seeing that a lot more often over here too as well. So I completely understand. It sucks for me because I can't videotape in there. I can't get any coverage, but I understand as an artist myself, so I definitely get what they're getting from.
I just love the artist tables. One of my favorite artists is oh crud, what was her name? It started with the A. I want to say Amy, but not for some reason I think Emily Belcher. Belcher. I'm looking at my roommate's pictures. Belcher. She has a Facebook and a website and a DeviantArt, and she's really good. And my roommate bought this really. We met her at TNT. Well, Tamara met her at TNT the year before, and she had bought a Hitalia picture. And this last year, she bought a Hulk and Hawkeye picture, or not Hawkeye, Cap. I wish she bought the Hawkeye. I would have gotten Hawkeye. It's really good. Nice. It's eye candy for the girl, mainly eye candy for those certain fans, you know. But anyways, it was really funny because she bought them when she was wearing her Betty cosplay, and I was cosplaying Bruce.
Nice.
And here she is walking around with this picture, and she comes up and she goes, "Marcie, look, she did Avengers." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm looking. I go, "Wait a minute. I should feel very awkward about this." And then I was like, I want to meet her, and Tamara took me to her, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love you." And then she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Bruce." I think I mentioned her and it in my TNT, in my TNT one. And see, I wasn't really feeling good at TNT. I had a couple of issues at TNT, so it's just like that was like one of the top main highlight points on TNT for me. Because of that, and it's getting to meet her, and it was really cool. And she was just like, "Oh, dude, you're Bruce," and I'm like, "Yes." And this was like, she's really cool. I friended her on Facebook. She friended me back, and this was all like, yay, more friends.
I'm getting to the point where like anybody I add new as a friend on Facebook, it's just a mutual friend of somebody else I have. And at this point, it's just like anybody I add now are just like people of friends who know them already. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. There isn't one person I've added yet that's been like, oh, you're completely new and you know nothing about my friends or my background.
I don't add people unless I know the people or unless I met the people, because I share things and I have pictures of my little guy, and I really don't want any weird people looking at those pictures.
I hear ya. One last question.
I will answer this question if I know the answer.
Was there a particular moment that was one of those moments where you were, I say like convention moments, where you just stand there and it just happens in front of you, or like one of those moments just like you look around and something, you just kind of like, did that happen?
Well, I have two moments. One that's like a cute awe moment because I haven't put enough of my kid in this one like I did last time. He wanted to do the LARPing thing really bad that they had there with TriPoint. TriPoint's awesome. If anybody's at a convention where TriPoint is, they need to go and do it because it's like really cool. They have tournaments and all that stuff. Anyways, he went and he did it and he killed Luke Skywalker. Or Anakin Skywalker. I don't remember. The guy was dressed up like a Jedi, but it was really cool, and everybody was like, there were some people that were yelling, "Anakin or Luke, you had one job. You couldn't beat a kid." And this was like the guys was like, "Yeah, I had fun doing it. Go away." And that was really cool. My kid's first real big LARPing experience, and I was just like, I can't believe that just happened. My baby's growing up. And the second one that was like really big, I was doing a photo shoot. I did a couple photo shoots at this convention. I think I posted like one or two of the pictures on the page from the photo shoots. I didn't post like all of them because I took like a bunch, but I posted like one or two from each of the shoots because they did different characters. Anyways, I was taking pictures with the girls, and we went to the spot in the hotel that had a bar next to it. and we were taking pictures. I was trying to hurry and get done, you know, because there were people watching the games and all that. And then there was this guy that walked up and he was watching us.
Mm.
And he was like, tell me a funny, I bet you guys have a funny story for me and all that. And just like, taking pictures, trying to hurry, not be rude. And then he was like, I want a picture. I want a picture with these girls, which were my 2 models. And I'm like, okay, watch this guy. And bless one of my models, her boyfriend was one of the models too.
Oh.
Bless his heart. It must have taken everything inside of him not to rip that guy off of his girlfriend.
Wow.
Because the guy was just, you know, he wasn't being rude or anything. He was just being uncomfortable for them. And he could tell. And I could tell. And I was just watching for any, you know, because, you know, there's rude, there's uncomfortable, there's rude, there's uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was just in the uncomfortable zone.
I see.
But it's like, finally he got, after him and his friends who, I mean, this guy smelled. You could smell what he had drunk. And I can tell you right now, it had a little bit, at least a little bit of vodka in it.
Okay.
And if you can smell vodka, you know that there was a little bit more than a little bit of vodka in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy was just like wanting these picture. He wanted this picture, but I think his friend was a little bit loopy like he was because she could not get a straight picture on her phone. She was shaking or something. And then the other guy that was with him was like, no, I'll take the picture. And I was just like, I'm thinking, okay, you know, I'm going to have to tell these people to, you know, that we're going to have to go because we're on the, you know, we're trying to finish up and everything here. But eventually, but they thankfully left to where I didn't have to be mean. And I was like, thank the Lord. It's like, I don't want to do mean no more.
Right.
Mean is not fun.
Running into quote unquote normies.
The normies.
Yeah.
It's like running into them and they're either giving you weird looks or they think that since you're in costume, you're a character that's going to just be all to entertain them. Is your job. And it's really, I mean, cosplay is not consent. Cosplay is not consent for cosplayers or for the normies. And I'm not saying normies as an insult. I mean, I have friends, I have family who are not into the stuff that I'm in and anything, and any other cosplayer and any other convention goer understands why this term is. Why we use this term. Because it's the term of the people who think that they're normal. That's the term for them. They think they're normal, so we're going to let them be called normies. We're not meaning out disrespect or anything. We're just calling them that. To call them that. I mean, they call us freaks and all sorts of other names.
Like, to be fair, like, ever since the dawn of comic books and video games, like, we've been labeled as nerds our entire lives, so it's only fair. But I can relate because I can't tell you how many times I've been to anime convention and, like, somebody just comes up and asks me, like, what is going on? Why is everybody in costumes? And I'm usually the one, most of the time, have to explain what is going on. And they're like,
I'm sorry, can't you read? It's like, can't you read? There's like a huge sign.
Yeah. I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, you know, people just don't know. It just comes down to it. But yeah, I cannot talk today. I'm just, the ice cream is still in my mouth.
That's what you get for not sharing. He's eating ice cream and he's not sharing with me.
Yeah, because the only way to share is through the internet, because I am about thousands of miles away.
That's not fair. I still think that's not fair. It's like all these cool people and cool things are like in North Carolina and LA, and I'm like, there's cool stuff here in Arkansas and Oklahoma and stuff, but it's just like, there's more cool stuff in LA and stuff, and it's just like,
Marcie, thank you for joining me for this podcast. Where can I find you on the internet?
You can find me at www.facebook.com/OrangeAngelStudios.
Awesome. And also to add to that, you can also find her work on our website at missionsurfpodcast.com. Majority of it is usually in the convention galleries. All of the photos she took were great and awesome. I suggest you guys check it out. Alongside, she does do a few con reports here and there when she gets a chance.
All grammar Nazis are not allowed to read my reports. I know that they are not properly grammared or anything. I suck at English.
Because we are artists, that's why.
I'm a photographer. I'm not an English major. Okay, come on, give me a break.
Yep.
It's bad. My 7-year-old is becoming a grammar Nazi too, and I'm like, you're not allowed. Go away.
Right. I mean, Peter Parker is photographer. You don't see him writing stories for the Bugle.
Oh my gosh, that would have been funny. Like, here, Parker, write a story. Why are all the other reporters are sick? Jay Jameson, what really behind the mustache? Parker. That's what he would write. It have something to do with Jameson's mustache in the title.
Oh, yeah.
And have something to do about how Jameson's just a big fat doo-doo head. I believe it's the term that he used in the new Spider-Man animated series. They call Jameson a doo-doo head or something like that.
Nice. All right, then we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Carlee, who also went and checked out Izumicon, so we'll have a different perspective on the convention. But get some water, get whatever you need, and then we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Bionis from Mission Start Podcast, and if you enjoy listening to us, not only on the website but also on iTunes, be sure to check us out on Stitcher as well. Stitcher is an iPhone, Android app, also on other smartphones. You can download for free, and also registration is for free too. It's an app that you can listen to any podcast that is on there without ever downloading a file. When you register with Stitcher, be sure to put in promo code Mission Start or Conover or both, and you get to automatically be entered into a $100 prize every month from Stitcher. So be sure to check us out, support us, and we'll support you guys. And we are back from our little break we just did. But with me, out is Marcie. Comes in Carlee. And hello there.
Hello.
And you also went to Izumicon recently. So it's an interesting perspective having because Marcie went as a staff and you were there as an attendee. Now, which year is this for you for Izumicon? Is this like your second, third year, or?
This was my first year at
Izumicon. Wow. I say that with water in my mouth. So, this is your first time. Did you have any expectations coming into this convention, or was it just kind of something you kind of figured it's gonna be pretty big?
I felt like it was going to be a really big convention, and it actually turned out to be quite small. And the reason why I felt like it was going to be a big convention is because of the voice actors that they had. Like, they had Johnny Young Bosch that was going to be there, and they also had, like, Bryce Papenbrook. And so I expected it to be a lot bigger than it was. Mm-hmm. And it really shocked me whenever I found out it really wasn't.
Did it hinder your experience, even though it was a smaller con than you expected?
Not really. Like, not at all, actually. Like, we were able to get in, get the autographs that we wanted decently fast. There was one time that we weren't able to, but it actually made it a little bit easier.
Okay. Walking around the convention center for the first time, what were the things you were noticing the most? As far as anything, it could be cosplay, it could be, things you might notice with people, attitudes or whatnot.
Well, it was pretty much just like your everyday normal convention scene. I guess the one thing that I probably noticed the most is the fact that there weren't as many cosplayers as I was really expecting.
So given like 1 out of 5 people were in cosplay?
I'd probably go more with 2, but I'm just used to seeing kind of everybody.
Right. Okay. Well, as I trying to think of a question. So, what was your battle plans when going to the con? Like, did you had a set plan for like which panels you're going to attend to, or did you go to any of the gatherings that were there?
Well, we went the day before, so we went on Thursday. So we actually got to hit up the special Nightmare Before Izumicon Halloween party,
Ooh,
which was
nice.
really cool. And they had a special performance of Johnny's band, I Shine, there if you attended the party, which was cool.
Mm.
And the best part about it being is if you went early, you got to get your badge early, and they also gave you a panel schedule.
Nice.
So we were able to map it out before the convention started.
Awesome. What was the things you jotted down that you wanted to check out and see?
Well, anything with Bryce Papenbrook I really wanted to see because that's Rin Okumura, and I love him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to see anything with that. They had the Ask an Anime character, which was amazing because that obviously that had all of them, and you could go and you could ask any of them any question,
Nice.
and that was awesome. They had fun little dating ones.
Oh, cool. How was that like?
The dating panels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. How to pick up a nerdy girl.
Were these?
I was like, well, I don't need that. So
was it more of a like a actually giving advice type of deal, or was it more like a more fun type of thing?
yeah, it was an actual like this is how you pick up a girl advice, which was awesome. But it was like that's not at all what I need. But I'm still gonna listen because it's funny and it's hosted by Leonardo from Ninja Turtles. So I was happy.
Funny how that works. Considering all Ninja Turtles had like April, so yeah. Showing my age. All right, here we go.
Works.
Mm-hmm. So what did you cosplay?
I did
Which character?
cosplay at every convention.
Which characters?
I did Rin Okumura. I did Sol Evans.
Mm-hmm.
I did Rosette Christopher. And brought Yuki Cross, but never got to wear it because we did not room at the convention hotel. And the kind of the biggest complaint we had for all of Izumicon is Izumicon was quite expensive. And they had this parking deal where it would just be varied parking, like be anywhere from $10 to $20 to park. And as soon as you left the parking space, if you wanted to go back in, you had to pay it again.
Oh wow, that is spendy. Yeah. Wow.
So that was called you pick your cosplay and you stay in it.
Oh wow, I see. Okay. And when you're wearing any of your costumes, like which one got the most attention?
If I would have worn Rin on Saturday, probably Rin, but because I wore Soul on Saturday, Soul got the most attention. But I actually I made Rin's tail, and so everybody freaks out about the tail, and that always gets the most attention.
Right. Awesome. Was there any particular cosplays that you saw that you had to stop and like, oh my God, I must take your picture or else I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, and it was a Levi from Attack on Titan.
Nice.
And it was a girl cosplayer, but she'd actually cut her hair to be in Levi's style, and I was like, I need a picture.
Wow, that's really wait. Did she actually just like use her actual hair for the costume, no wig? Oh no! Hello. So did she really use her real hair for her cosplay?
Yes, she really did use her real hair.
Wow.
And the only thing I could think was, I love you.
Nice. Wow, that's really cool. I totally, if you have the hair to do it, then totally do it. Like, yeah, I cannot recommend that so much, so much. But that's awesome. That's really cool. Um,
Oh, and there was one more. There was actually a Marshall Lee that
mhm.
was walking around, which is the gender swap from Adventure Time,
Oh, sweet.
and he had an acoustic guitar with him, and he was playing all of the songs,
Mm,
and that was cool. Like really getting into character, and he'd play a song for you if you asked him to.
nice, awesome. That's really cool. Was the guitar like painted in shapes like the axe in the show?
If only, but yeah, it was just a plain acoustic guitar, but he was still playing and he knew all the songs.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Um, so, uh, were you able to go to any of the main events or any of the big events that Izumicon was holding?
I went to the cosplay contest.
Hmm.
There were only 12 people who entered.
Yeah, okay.
Remember how I said small?
I envisioned small, but I didn't think this small.
There were only 12 contestants.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. But how was it?
It was good. Like, it was still set up really well. The skits were fantastic. Like, they had more skits than they did, like, cosplay people.
Nice. Um, give me a minute. Um, any particular skit or any particular like costume that was really good, like during the masquerade?
They had the Sailor Scouts during the uh, during the skits, and they did a dance, and they were just perfectly in sync, and it was well done. I really liked them a lot.
Nice. Awesome. Um, when you were walking around, were you able to check out the other rooms that were there at the con, like the gaming room or the dealer's hall or artist alley?
Oh yeah, Artist Alley was actually like right in the middle of it. You couldn't go anywhere that wasn't actually Artist Alley,
Mm,
because it was along the main hallway to get to any of the rooms.
right.
So you were constantly in Artist Alley. And then they had, like right out in the open, they had a section to LARP,
Oh,
which was awesome, but you had to pay for it.
how much was the fee?
I think it was like $2, $2 to $5, which wasn't bad,
Hmm.
but still, to hit people with a foam bat, I don't want to pay $2.
Right, right. I hear you. You can do that for free. I mean,
Exactly.
um,
And I went to the dealer's hall, and the dealer's hall was really impressive. Like they definitely had something for everybody there.
hmm, that's cool.
And like
How
they had someone there who made like homemade cosplays. If you didn't bring a cosplay, you could actually buy one from them.
nice because the people who sell costumes at Glitters Hall, like no disrespect, but those are kind of fake.
Yeah, well, this one was like they were Pokemon, like humanized.
Hmm.
They were cool. So,
Nice. That's really cool. I really I like the fact that they have, like somebody legitly there making costumes on the floor. Um,
hmm
how big was the dealer hall?
um, it was fairly decent size. Like I wouldn't know square footage or anything,
Right, right.
but it was a fairly big ballroom that they had it in,
Hmm.
and like once again, I assumed Izumicon was going to be bigger than it
Mm-hmm.
was,
Mm-hmm.
but like it was smaller. For example, it was smaller than like what Tokyo and Tulsa offers.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. That's interesting. I always heard like out of the cons down the East Coast, like Midwest, ZumiCon is like one of the conventions out there that I've heard a lot of good buzz about. Especially since they just moved from their last location to this one.
Yes, this year was Izumicon's first year at the Cox Convention Center because
Mm,
previously it was held in Midwest City,
mm-hmm.
and I'd heard that from local con goers who had gone since it started up.
Right, right.
But the interesting thing about Izumicon is that it this year, obviously, they had the most people that they've ever had,
Hmm.
which was only 2,800.
Wow. Mm,
So it's still small.
okay. Um, what I was gonna say, I know exactly how that feeling is. As far as like, it felt like a small con, even though it wasn't. When I went to SAC Anime like recently, this past last year, they moved from the hotel that we're at to the convention center in downtown Sacramento. And me and my friends are feeling like it just feels, it's a bigger convention, but it feels small for some odd reason. And the reason being is because like the size never went down. It actually grew. It's just that we have more space to hold everybody
Hmm.
in. So I definitely get that feeling. It's like, oh wow. Yeah. Um, were you or going back to the artist alley, any particular like artwork or prints that you wanted to buy but couldn't?
Um, well, there was a guy there who's actually doing woodworking.
Nice.
He would do any symbol from any game, or he would do any character that you wanted, and he would actually carve it into like little wooden boxes or like little pieces of wood. And I really wanted something of that, but it was expensive.
Wow.
But I mean, come on, obviously what you're paying for.
That's true. That's pretty cool. Wow. How much was he charging?
uh, I don't know. I think for one of the boxes it was like $40
Mm.
or something like that, and
Mm.
it was a really small box,
Right. Okay.
but I mean they were beautiful though. Like they were definitely worth it, but after paying all the parking fees, there was no way I was going to be able to come home with one of those.
I hear ya. I definitely hear ya. It's pretty cool that they focus more of the artist alley as a kind of the centerpiece for the convention. Um,
Mhm.
Artist alleys to me are, I think have the best stuff they have at any anime convention. Um, and it's really cool to see that there's a main focus on the artists. And
I I'm sorry. I completely agree with that
mhm.
because like you can get more of kind of what you want as a fan.
For sure. There's one thing I've learned, and my wallet is crying because I didn't learn this when I was younger, going to conventions. Um, Everything you find there, with the exception of a few things, you can find on the internet for cheaper, which I learned recently.
Yep.
Yeah, $4.
Anytime Anytime I purchase anything at a convention, I always look on eBay and see if I can get it cheaper.
Yep, I kind of discovered that like, well, I think it was like a year or two ago. Like, oh hey, I could buy manga for like really cheap on Amazon and not pay $10 a pop at anime convention, unless it's like rare, unless it's like something really rare
Hmm.
and like you cannot find that anywhere. But yeah, I was like, oh man, so much money I wasted.
Exactly.
But then again, that's kind of how it is. Um, the la, 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 la. Was there any water stations around the convention center?
Yes. And they were actually strange because you would think that it would be like, oh, I don't know, like the little kind of water fountain type things, but they
Mm-hmm.
actually just had these little glass bottles that they just
Oh.
had around the convention, and you filled up your cup with those.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
And they were on tables, and you felt like you were in a fancy restaurant, not a convention.
Right, right. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Um, oh, so outside of the convention center, was there any nearby places to go eat, or was there any particular places you went to go eat that was adjacent to the convention center?
The only place to eat that is like immediately in view from this convention center is this little cafe, and they would charge you $10 for like
Jesus.
half a sandwich.
What kind of business is this? Wow.
And Yeah, but they also had signs put up that said that there was a Subway just down the road, and it was very easy to walk to, and it was like, yeah, I'm gonna get my $5 sandwich here and not paying that.
Wow, that is
But
ridiculous.
yeah, so the only one that you can actually see to get food at, because that was obviously our first concern was what are we gonna eat and how are we going to eat because we can't
Hmm.
leave our parking space.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so it was Subway.
Um, you guys were which hotel were you guys were staying at for this con?
Okay, we were staying about 5 miles away from the convention center at a Super 8
Mm-hmm.
because we got our reservation off of Expedia and it was only $48 a night
Not bad.
compared to the Renaissance, which was the convention hotel, and they wanted $130 a night. And
Uh,
then they also charged you an extra $25 a night to keep your car there.
Jesus. Wow.
So we obviously stayed for 3 nights.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Was there sometimes the convention whatever anime convention goes on, sometimes they have it to where they coordinated with the other hotels so they'll have like some sort of like transportation um for people, to get from one hotel to the con or back. Was there anything something like that set up for Izumicon?
No, there wasn't. But they really didn't need it. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a lot of people.
Right.
And you could literally just take all these really simple, easy back roads to access the convention,
Right.
like from the cheaper hotels that we were at.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the people who were in the Renaissance, they had the Sky Bridge,
Ah,
and
I see.
so they didn't need it.
Okay. That's awesome. Um, the when you were walking around the convention center and checking everything out, as I was talking to Marcy, there was 2 floors to the convention center. Um,
Yes.
what would did we can't talk today. Um, I've heard that in the second floor was like kind of it was like the unintentional like place to hang out if you were a homestucker for some odd reason. Um, that's at least what I was talking with Marcy about.
Well, actually, all the Homestuck people were outside.
Oh wow, really?
All of them. They had a couple events that were going on, like specifically for Homestuck people. And actually, I was on Facebook
Hmm.
after the con, and I found a girl who'd taken over 400 pictures, and they were all Homestuck people.
Jesus.
I would honestly say that Homestuck ruled this convention. There were more Homestuck cosplayers than anything else.
So this was basically
And
Homestuck Con.
yes, and at certain periods of time, they all agreed to meet together, and it was all outside. And how this convention center worked is it was like a one-sided mirror.
Hmm.
So they were all trying to like check their makeup and people could like see them on the other side, but they didn't know that they were being watched. And so I was one of these people. I was over there making faces at them while they're trying to check their makeup, and they have no idea I was there.
Was it just like an like entire wall of just like homestuckers like doing their makeup?
Yes. And it was just in that because it was at that time we were waiting in line to get autographs from I think it was Johnny Young Bosch at that time.
Mm, awesome. The guests that were there, who else was there besides Johnny Young Bosch?
Like I said before, Johnny and Bryce and oh, Cassandra Lee
Mm-hmm.
and oh, his name is Michael. Yeah, he was Dean Venture. So,
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
yes.
That's really cool.
Can't come up. Yeah, but Cassandra Lee, Cube, love Cube.
Awesome. Um, how long, like, how long did it take you to get an autograph from Johnny Young Bosch in that line?
Okay, well, we got there early for Johnny. It did not take us long to get Johnny's autograph at all.
Mm.
And the other thing is that because we went on, let's see, we went on Thursday. Well, we were able to be at the convention because we already had our ticket and everything. We were able to be at the convention early on Friday, and we didn't have to wait in any kind of line or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to just go in and like be able to get all the autographs from everybody on the first day. So on Friday.
Mm. Oh, okay. Um, when was there a particular like anything like a particular moment or like something strange that happened like during this convention? Because at all anime conventions that I go to and other people go to, there's always that one moment that just like happens. It's like you would never see like anywhere else, and it always happens somehow.
Um, I nothing really happened much at this con. I mean, I will say this, the people who were handling any of the voice actors were quite rude.
Mm.
Like they would not allow you to ask any of the voice actors to do a voice or take a picture with them or do anything with them. They limited you, like if it was Johnny, they limited you to 3 autographs.
Mm. Oh, I see. Wow. Huh. I wonder why. I wonder why it's so restrictive.
Yeah, it was pretty restrictive, but I will say this, Bryce was fantastic. Like he like broke away from his handler several times and he took pictures. He took
Nice.
pictures with people and he was really friendly, and so I've got a picture with him and I put that up on the website,
Nice. Awesome.
and he was just great.
I always love it when like voice actors when they break the mold and they like start what's the word I'm looking for, like really going with the flow of things. It's so cool, and it's you can totally tell like they are in their element or like really comfortable and just like one of us type of deal.
And he loves his fans. And one thing that he did that was really awesome as well
Hmm.
is he invited everybody to go and watch Sword Art Online with him in the lobby of the Renaissance Hotel.
That is so awesome.
So you could go watch Sword Art with Kirito.
That is so cool. Did you go do that or?
We weren't able to, and it
Mm.
was literally because of parking once again.
Oh man, the 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 evil door that is parking.
The bane of our existence, yes.
um, I couldn't imagine like him in that room with everybody else watching it and just like riffing the entire time.
Hmm.
That makes the best like experiences ever.
Yes, he's got pictures of it on Facebook, or I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Nice.
So I got to see those pictures. I was like, well, I wished I could have gone, but
Right, right. That's pretty cool. Let's see. How was the staff? Like, how was actually first off, how was registration, and then how was the staff?
okay, registration was kind of confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we'd gone the day before, there weren't a lot of people in line. We didn't have to wait long in line,
Mm-hmm.
but if you had pre-registered with your if you pre-registered with your ticket,
Mm-hmm.
then they wanted you to have this. They wanted you to have a copy, like a printed out copy of your receipt. And I was not one of those people.
Huh.
And they made me get on my phone and look up this little thing so that they could scan it off of my phone because they couldn't just look it up by my name.
Right, right. Hmm.
So if you didn't bring it with you, and if you didn't have a smartphone to be able to look it up from, I'm not exactly sure how you were expected to get your badge.
Was there computers inside the convention center that you could use, or?
No, just their computers that they had. And they,
Mm.
for the most part, I think they only had like one computer and the rest of them were using smartphones.
Wow, that's huh. That is a
So
problem.
that was registration.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the staff goes, they were all really friendly, except for kind of when it came to, once again, handling the voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were pretty strict about the voice actors. But the thing I noticed about the staff is nobody knew what was going on.
In,
Like I wouldn't know where to go
mm-hmm.
for certain things. Like I wouldn't know where a certain panel was, or I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know where you signed up for the hallway cosplay contest,
Right,
or
right.
just anything like that. And I would go up to 3 different staff members and none of them had any idea
Hmm.
where anything was. And they'd tell me to go find somebody else.
Interesting. They had no pamphlets, no schedules like they would put in a bag to look at or anything like that.
They did have schedules.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for certain things, for like example, the hall cosplay contest that Marcie was the staff of, it didn't have a location on
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And so it was just like, well, where do you go? And then
Interesting.
you'd ask the staff, and they had no idea.
Interesting. Izumicon, this convention, is this still pretty young or is it has it been around for a while?
um, I I'm pretty sure it's still pretty young.
Hmm. Okay.
Like, as far as I know from the people who'd been there before, uh, I don't want to necessarily guess, but I want to say they told me it was like 6 years
Hmm.
or something. I'll still have to research into that,
Right, right,
but
right. Um, yeah, like,
which is still, I guess that's mediocre. Like that's
mm-hmm.
right in it's right in between.
Right, right. I think that when it comes to conventions, as far as like, small or big, I guess it depends on who you ask. Like, if it's a really small convention, you don't have to really worry about too much. But um, it
Truthfully, I was looking for a crowd like what NakaCon had.
right, 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 right.
They saw 9,000 people on Saturday alone.
Damn, that is pretty huge.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, to finish my thought, like I understand if a convention's still like pretty young, say in its first, second year, and they're just trying to, get their grounds going and figure out what's what. Um, I think that on a real talk level, I think that not having schedules or not having the staff know where things are I mean, it's not such a big problem, but it's still an anime convention should not have as much of a problem. And I've been
Well,
I've been I've been to cons for a number of years, and obviously I can't really compare A to B, but um, it's it's still a mistake. I think they should probably fix sooner than later.
yeah, I also feel though that it was partially from the fact that this was their first time at the Cox Convention Center.
Hmm.
So I can't really just, point fingers at them too terribly.
I know. That's true. I'm from an outside looking in. That's how
Oh
that's how
yeah.
I see it. But like, if I'll reserve judgment, for next year and see if they get better at it. But not to be the critic, but kind of am actually. That's what we do on the site. We critique conventions.
We
Uh,
critique and tell you how you did.
Pretty much. Um, cool. Was there actually? La, 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 la. think that's about it. Um, Overall thoughts about Izumicon.
Overall thoughts is it was a good convention. It definitely was a good convention. It was just really expensive, and for us personally, it was a pretty far drive. Like it ended up with traffic being about 4.5 hours
Mm, mm,
for us to get there.
mm,
And the only way that we would necessarily go back, we kind of agreed on this,
mm-hmm,
is it's going to depend on the voice actors that they
mm-hmm,
get, which Izumicon gets incredible voice actors for it not being a very big convention. So
mm-hmm,
I still see us going back.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they can't control the fees or anything like that. We'll
Right,
just have to save money. So
right.
now that we've been, we know.
Mm. I see, gotcha. Okay, I could totally agree with that. I've if there's one thing I've learned, in the West Coast over here, the convention I've been to for, what was it, back in '06 or back like I'd say like for about 9, 10 years. The convention over here always has some. I mean, like it's bigger than it used to be, but they always somehow get like the biggest or like a good voice actor to come. And it's crazy
Hmm.
to think about because last SAC anime I was at, they had Nolan North, Troy Baker, um, and what was it? The voice of Mario, the original Mario. Uh,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and then some other person. And it's crazy to think that they can book these voice actors and they um the convention I feel is like not as big, but still it's just like wow, how'd you get this person to come?
Yeah, in their closing ceremonies at Izumicon this year,
hmm
they already announced a voice actor for next year,
Mm,
and we're going to Izumicon next year
awesome.
because they have Chris Sabat's gonna be there.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah, Vegeta.
uh,
So,
so many trolls gonna happen. Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining me on this podcast to talk about your experience at Izumicon.
no problem.
Um, for people who want to know, where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me on DeviantArt. um, just kind of, yeah, I'm just kind of everywhere on the internet. DeviantArt, YouTube, Facebook, any of those.
hmm
So
Mission Start
the
Podcast.
main one though, Mission Start Podcast. Yeah,
Right, right. What's the address for your DeviantArt?
it's all one word, and it is Ashes New Moon.
Hmm. Cool.
So
Awesome.
same name that you'll find on my Mission Start Podcast. Everything.
Nice. Awesome. Um, you can all follow me on Twitter at Defective Naruto. You can